and welcome to SetOps 2016. My name is Liz Moscrop and I am the Grand Poobah Editor-in-Chief of the brand new live streaming service, GearUp TV.
Clear, prop.
Contact!
You can't do this here, madam.
Hello, don't you know who I am? This is live television.
You don't hand prop.
Thank you for watching GearUp TV. Remember to like and subscribe to see more.
Hello and welcome to GearUp TV. We are live streaming from the SetOps conference at Oxford today, and I'm with conference organiser Alison Chambers.
Hello, lovely to be here.
Alison, can you tell us what made you decide to do this conference? Because it's very timely given what's happening in the industry at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. It just came about as a conference question at the Corporate Jet Investor Conference. We did an event at Heliport before on helicopter operations and thought this is a really interesting sector. There's a lot of new companies here, there's some established companies here, and everybody is talking about the new EASA rule, which is expected, Liz, January 2017. And I hope some business is actually going to be done here. There's some companies talking about PC-12s, TBMs. It should be very interesting.
So these are all obviously single-engine turboprop types, but can you tell us what is a synopsis of this new rule? What does it mean for the industry? What can people do that they couldn't before?
It means that people will be able to charter these aircraft as public charter, just as they are able to do with the likes of the King Air and the Twins at the moment. There are a cluster of fractional ownership companies, some very successful ones. We've heard this morning from Hendel Aviation, Voldirect. So this is going to be an actual public charter under IFR conditions, and it's going to create a new sort of nursery of business aviation, affordable business aviation, that will sit under the twin engine turboprops and the very light jets and the light jets.
It's been a sellout, hasn't it, today? So, I mean, you've got so many people here. I can't believe how busy the conference is.
We have a packed auditorium, I think 150 people, and we seat 160. I think we could have sold more, actually. Well, I say sold, it was a free conference. But it was absolutely fantastic, and we're getting some really good feedback. And thanks to our sponsors, I'd also like to thank Blue Sky, Tim Harlow, whose list is terrific. Tim really helped market the conference in. But thanks to Pratt & Whitney Canada, thanks to Textron, thanks to London Oxford Airport, CAE for hosting us, thanks to Pilatus, Orions, Aviation and Dahar. And they've also brought aircraft here, which is good.
Yes, so there are people milling around outside now, and we have got several interviews from the conference now. We've got loads of packed lineup. We've got Mark Diaz coming up next from TBM Dahar, who have sponsored the makers of the TBM 930. They've sponsored the conference. So Alison, thank you very, very much for joining us this morning. I'll let you go and join your other guests.
And good luck to you with GearUp TV launch. It's good to see you. And next to MBAA.
Thank you for watching GearUp TV.
My name is Richard Coe. I'm Managing Director of Wings, which is a market information company. The most positive trend that we see is the activity growth in single-engine turbine aircraft, both in North America and in Europe. In North America, there are over 300,000 sectors flown by PC-12s and TBMs, and that has a growth rate of 7% over the last 10 years.
Thank you for watching GearUp TV.
Hello, and now we have Mark Diaz, who is the International Sales Director for Dahar, who have brought the TBM 930, I believe, today. Can you tell us a little bit about that aircraft before I ask you something about this operation?
Absolutely. The TBM 930 represents the latest evolution in the TBM product line, an aircraft that's been in production since 1990. This is our latest solution and offer to the market with the latest leading-edge technologies in the flight deck. Quite a comfortable machine, and that started just earlier this year.
And this is why Mark did actually throw me off the static this morning, because I was thinking...
How's your arm? You all right?
Still, yes, it is. And there's me thinking that you actually had to hand prop the machine, and of course you don't do with this latest evolution.
No, modern turbines.
Now, one of the things, obviously, people are going to be quite concerned about with the single engine is safety. How safe are these machines?
Absolutely. Well, let's start at the beginning. The TBM represents 30 years of research and development and evolution of an airframe. So with serial number 1 flying in 1990, we are looking at a fleet of 800 aircraft worldwide. And in that fleet, we've accumulated 1.4 million flight hours. Now, the aircraft is, the majority is owner flown. However, there are public transport solutions around the world. But how safe is it is the flight deck over that period. I mean, single engine turbines is really a relatively new solution or oncoming solution here. But in that 30 years, that flight deck has evolved to support a single pilot flying hard IFR in all weather conditions, and basically evolved to reduce workload, make the aircraft simple to fly. And this year with the TBM 930 and the G3000 avionics suite, we launched the eco-pilot system. And this helps a pilot keep the aircraft with the controllable flight envelope. And so we consider it eco-pilot because we really don't have a co-pilot in the right seat. We can, but with the owner-flown market, able to reduce workload, which reduces fatigue. The pilot can spend less time managing systems and more time managing the flight operation. So is the aircraft safe? Yes. And in the hands of professional operators, it'll be even safer.
Of course, and I just want to check this with you. This is new to Europe, but it is it's a regulation that's been in operation for a long time in other parts of the world, hasn't it? So it's
absolutely.
Proven.
Our first approval was received in 1994 in Canada. 2007, we received a separate approval in Australia for our fleet. I mean, today you could be in Wagga Wagga and charter an aircraft to Sydney.
Wow, wow, and that's just as a single engine under those regulations.
Yes.
Mark, I have one question that I'm going to spring on you that
Do
you're
it.
not expecting. I have flown.
I'm sweating.
He's going to run off now. Yeah.
Oh no.
No. I've flown with Mark, and I had a great deal of fun with Mark and his colleagues at De Haer, and we were singing along to one of your songs on your iPod at the time. Do you remember what it was?
Oh no.
It was Kylie Minogue. And
It was the Australian.
It was. What's playing now? If you're ferrying a flight on your own, what would you play on your iPod or your music?
Oh, I could. Should we go power? That's you got me. I'm listening to Sailing.
Sailing, right? So sailing in a TBM
Take me
aircraft.
away.
Take me away. Oh, he's singing for us.
All right.
Mark, before we inflict my singing on people watching, I'm going to say thank you very much for joining us.
It's
More
always a
information,
pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks
That's
for your
absolutely
time.
Brilliant.
Thank you for watching GearUp TV.
Hello, Liz. I'm David Macdonald from Aviation. Thanks for the interview or the chat. One of the key things that's coming out of this for me today is that there's something very new that's going to happen in our industry, and I think a lot of people in the industry are unaware of it. I think a lot of people in the supply chain are unaware of it. I think a lot of people in the customer base are also unaware of the new opportunity that's going to come out with the single engine aircraft operations. And so next year is going to be interesting and a challenge for everybody because there's a lot of education going to be required the whole way through the supply chain.
Thank you for watching GearUp TV.
So Jonathan and I were just nestling up very close and cosy there. Jonathan, can you explain a little bit about what you do in your operation?
Yeah, I'm the CFI at Oyster, and we are a specialist training provider in high-performance single-pilot aeroplanes, so the TBM, PC-12 and PA-46, single-engine turbine.
So we were talking and you've explained that it's actually not going to be as easy as all that to find pilots for when this new regulation comes in. Why is that?
It's just fundamentally that to operate these types of aircraft you do need to be very experienced, and there just aren't that many experienced pilots out there, and indeed the instructors and examiners to train and check the pilots. So there will be a natural period of time, I think, that'll take a while to get the pilots trained.
So what are some of the challenges in getting the pilots trained? Because I'd have thought you just come along and get trained, don't you? Isn't that simple? Just get an instructor and get them going.
You'd like to think it would be the case. You need to find instructors that are suitably qualified, that are experienced instructors, and fundamentally have got experience on that type. And also retaining instructors as well, and examiners. It's also quite expensive to train up as an instructor and examiner. So you combine all of those factors, and that does cause a challenge. But it's a positive challenge because it means the business is expanding and needs more pilots.
Right, Right, so you can't just buy one of these aircraft and crew them up really simply at the moment. You would need to go to an organisation such as your own to do that. What about actually examining the instructors to train them? You've got lots of those guys around?
Examiners, in terms of on the TBM, there are 3 in the UK, less throughout Europe, but there is definitely a shortage of examiners, and specifically examiners with the correct qualifications to examine for commercial air transportation, which is a requirement of the single engine turbine operations that we're here discussing. So there aren't many, no.
So only 3 in the entire UK,
Yeah.
not many in Europe. That must make it quite a, well, I just thought that would put costs up, because it must have cost you quite a lot
Yeah.
to get these guys on board.
Yes, yeah, it certainly does, and the good news is that the more hours that we do, the cost will come down. But initially it is quite a high startup cost to train and make sure that the examiners are safe.
Right, okay. And what about any other challenges that spring to mind for you? Is it easy enough if someone's bought one of these aircraft and wants to reduce costs? Is it easy enough for them to just sort of put it out on the charter? Is that an easy thing to do, or do they have to do anything else to do that?
The training programme specifically for commercial air transport is far more demanding than for a private individual, specifically with regard to engine failures. So actually the time scale that it takes to train a pilot increases, and of course the baseline qualifications that they need to start training, because it's a commercial operation, are a lot higher than for a private operation.
Jonathan Shooter has been a marvellous interviewee. I'm being flagged by this huge production crew to say, get him off. So Jonathan, with the best will in the world, get off my land.
Thank
and
you.
we're going to get the next guinea pig up to talk to us.
Thank you for watching GearUp TV.
Janus, Kamradt. I run aircraft management for EJM Europe, which is a NetJets business. And I think what I'll take away from this is the fact that we're now lowering the barrier to entry for many people who want to get into business aviation. In fact, I heard something this morning which puzzled me, is that we're now looking at maybe business aviation competing with trains, which I think is interesting, because it is outrageously expensive to get from A to B first class over here if you go on the train. To be able to do this now on business aircraft, I think it's an interesting trend, especially for Europe. Shorter distances, all that stuff, I think it will work very well.
Thank you for watching GearUp TV.
Next up in our wonderful line of interviewees is Adam Twidell, who is the CEO of PrivateFly. Now, PrivateFly is a brilliant organisation. I'm going to let Adam, you explain to people a bit what it does. What do you do?
Well, it's actually really simple. It's a very simple business. We connect customers who want to fly on private jets with the aircraft operators. We make use of the spare capacity in aircraft.
Right. And as we're talking, we're going to see some of PrivateFly is very good at gathering together statistics of how many flights and what kind of aircraft are very popular in the industry. So we're going to see that as we're talking. But I do want Adam to elaborate on what this new ruling could mean for the charter market.
Well, it means that from an industry perspective, there's a huge amount of excitement again, which is great because that leads to a lot more marketing and a lot more people are going to hear about private aviation for the first time. So that's the first point. You know, we're going to bring more people into the industry, which is what we all need. Now, whether those new passengers coming into the industry want to fly on a single engine turboprop or a twin engine turboprop or a very light jet is going to be down to a few factors.
Such as?
So, price. Nobody wants to be ripped off and everybody wants the best value they can get. So price is incredibly important in the charter market. The age of the aircraft is also very important. In America, private jet passengers are prepared to fly on older aircraft, not in Europe. Anything older than 5 years is considered old. It's a bit like a car. People want to fly on new aircraft. So in some ways, these new entry-level single-engine turboprops, they're all going to be brand new, and they're going to have big backers with lots of money behind them. So they'll be undercutting the twins and the jets, and they'll be brand new. So in that respect, it's going to be very, very exciting marketplace. So good news for the customer.
And I think more good news on that note is that these can actually get into airfields that even the smallest jets can't.
Yeah, I think that's the third point, Liz.
Yeah.
So we've got price, and we've got the age and the cabin of the aircraft, but also time. What we're all selling here is time. And if a single engine turboprop can get into a closer airport than a jet can, well, that's going to put it at an advantage when the customer's got all of their options, they've compared the market, and then they'll be able to decide. But saving time, very important. Airports very close to where we are in Oxford, places like Booker, which is High Wycombe Airfield, which is just a stone's throw away from the M25 and into London, will suddenly be on the map, assuming these aircraft can land.
And indeed, you know, they should be able to get in, as we say, into these smaller fields. Do you expect that you're going to get a large influx of bookings? You know, should this law come into being quite soon?
I think we're going to start with a lot of inquiries.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a huge amount of interest. There's going to be a lot of press, and a lot more people are going to know about the market. But people don't search to fly on a PC-12 or a TBM.
Yeah.
What they're doing is searching to fly from London to Manchester, from Geneva to Paris, from Moscow to Nice. And then they're looking at the aircraft options which are presented by the industry. So the jury's out, but it's really good news for the industry that these single-engine aircraft are coming our way.
Now, I'm going to keep you here. We've only got a few seconds left, but there's one very important member of your team who's not here today, who has been a major star in the States. Can you tell us who that is?
I suspect it's either Sasha or Tex.
Tex.
Yes. Okay, Tex is our fantastic office dog, a Labradoodle. Everybody loves him. And in fact, only yesterday, we had an extra revenue stream from Tex because a neighbouring company in St Albans wanted to lift the spirits of their team. So they exchanged a big box of chocolates for an hour with Tex. And luckily, PrivateFly staff get to enjoy Tex all the time.
Oh.
He's done more hours on private jets than most of the private jet customers we have. I mean, he flies a lot, and he's been here to Oxford Airport, and he loves the facilities here too.
Fantastic. Adam Twidell, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Great.
Thank you for watching GearUp TV.
Oh, I'm now with our final interviewee of this plethora of wonderful, fantastic speakers, and last but by no means least, we have James Dillon-Godfray, the Business Development Director of London Oxford Airport.
Indeed.
James.
Yes.
How good is this new regulation going to be for the industry?
I think it's an exciting time because we've been waiting for a long, 20 years. We've been waiting 20 years to be able to use these aircraft types, where the market has a great void between, say, helicopters and then the King Air sector, where the price point for starting with a King Air is significantly higher than what we used to be able to do when there were lots of twin piston engined airplanes whizzing around and were available for use at airports like Oxford. And today there's far fewer of those than there were today, and it is a bit frustrating. So the single engine market is going to open up a new sector which will bring the price down, we hope, and that's exciting stuff. Yeah.
And I think too, Mark touched upon this earlier on, and Adam, in the King Air, of course, is a great workhorse.
Yeah.
But a lot of the types flying in operation at the moment in Europe are older, whereas these brand new models of single engine, they're going to be quite different from the passenger perspective, aren't they, inside? The cabins are...
I think, it's horses for courses, where the private charter market today, the cabin interior is quite a significant element. A lot of the customer base do want something that looks smart and snazzy, and that is an important element. But there's another sector of the market that just don't care. If I wanted a football team in a CESSNA caravan to go from here to Newquay for a match, I don't care what the interior looks like. I just want the best deal, get me there in an hour and a half, get me back home again in an hour and a half, and everybody's happy. So I think whatever the state of your airplane, there will be a market that you can fulfill and serve regardless of what that interior looks like. But it's a good thing to have something that looks reasonably smart and snazzy. Yeah.
From the pilot pilot's perspective, why would they come here rather than anywhere else?
From the pilot's perspective, at Oxford you've got a full IFR airport. We had a conversation about this morning at the conference. There are an awful lot of runways that exist in the UK and elsewhere in Europe, which are accessible by these single-engine turboprops because they have fantastic field performance. The problem is that European weather being what it is, you really need some nav aids and some basic infrastructure to ensure safe operations all year round. And we've made a huge investment in our infrastructure over the last decade here. We have a radar, we have instrument landing system, we're going to get LPV approaches, LPV 200, which is the new standard GPS-based approaches. That all costs a huge amount of money, and that's great for us. We've gone through that pain and we've got to where we are. But for the smaller aerodromes who don't have any of that infrastructure today, I wonder how many of them are going to be able to put that in the years to come to make themselves suitable for these commercial operations. I doubt many will be able to afford it.
And that's a very good point, and we are coming towards the end of the show, but I cannot let Adam Twidell bring Tex into the conversation without bringing to mind a big cover star that's a member of your own family, actually, James. Who is the Oxford Airport mascot dog?
I have a dog, a Cairn Terrier called Belle, and she's been on a few magazine front covers. Doesn't get out of her bed for less than about 3 bonios. So yeah, she's a bit of a star.
So I'm afraid we haven't got Belle. She's far too posh to be with us today. But James, Dillon-Godfrey, thank you very much, and thank you very much to all our interviewees who've taken part today for the SetOps conference. For more information, go to Emerald Media, Blue Sky News, and of course GearUp TV. We're going to have lots and lots of such wonderful programs with fabulous interviewees like this. I've been Liz Moscrop. Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching GearUp TV.